Hi, everyone. I want to welcome you back to a new episode of The Laws of Entrepreneurship. And today we have Mr. Zach Bush, who is one of the owners of the infamous Ball and Chain nightclub in Miami. So today I'm going to be asking him a set of entrepreneurship questions in the event that you are interested in becoming a nightclub owner or you are simply interested in his journey of entrepreneurship. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be speaking with you today.
Oh, great. So let's just dive right in. I think the one question that people want to know that I want to get out of the way is what's it like being a nightclub owner?
It's funny because a lot of people think of us as nightclub owners, and obviously that was your intro. We really don't, and I'm speaking on behalf of my group of the three owners, we really don't think of ourselves as nightlife personas, so to speak. We really consider ourselves first and foremost business people. We do our best to run the place and treat everyone how we would want to be treated. But really, we consider ourselves food and beverage, hospitality experts, but first and foremost business school. I mean, two of the three owners went to business school undergrad. The other, I believe, was a theater major. So we come from vastly, we have several different skill sets, but we like to think of ourselves more as just business people first.
I love that you said that because I agree with you. I mean, the crux and the base and the foundation of all of this anyway is business. You have to have some kind of business knowledge. So how did you get started? Did you always want to be an entrepreneur?
That's a really interesting question. And I'll give you the short, long version of that story. When I graduated from Emory University in the year 2000. Since I had been 15, 16 years old, I'd worked in my family's waste and recycling company. So business was always in my blood. And when I was getting ready to graduate, I really was on the fence because I had this amazing opportunity to come work with my family, which many people would die for, to help to, build a business that ultimately belongs to you. But on the other hand of it, by no means was that my passion. So I was truly, really torn. I had an older brother who is still my business partner today. He's also one of the owners of Ball and Chain, who went to work at the family business, graduated 3 years before I did from Washington University in St. Louis. And to make a long story short, after wrestling with it for many, many months, I decided that I was just too good of an opportunity and to come back to Miami where I wanted to be and to go to work in the family waste and recycling business. I did that for many years, but right early on, I recognized that my heart and my passion wasn't, I was going to work and building something which was great, but my heart wasn't necessarily in it. So just out of, wanting to be more content, I taught myself to DJ. And within like 6-7 months, I was getting gigs in hip hop rooms on Miami Beach. And I was kind of living a double life because the waste and recycling business, we'd go to work at 4:35 in the morning. And then on Friday and Saturday nights, I would be DJing late night. Long story short is at that time, DJs were not nearly as prominent and paid well as they are today. And I decided I wanted to be on the other side of the booth where the party was going on. And I started producing my own events with my best girlfriend at the time. And then years later, who knew everything would come full circle where in 2011, my brother and I had an exit from the waste and recycling business. It was not, here's go buy a boat and a penthouse type money. It was someone offers you $1.05 for something that's worth $1. You think very long and hard about it, which we did. And we had an exit, and, we were both at that time, in our, mid 30s. And the irony of this whole thing is in about the year 2000, the third partner, Bill Fuller, had come to me and said, we have this great property, this place Ball and Chain used to be there. Let's bring it back to life. And at that time we were closer to, in our 20s than our mid 30s. And he knew I was in nightlife and loved music and the whole thing. It just wasn't the right time. So fast forward, my brother and I had the exit in 2011. The opportunity resurfaced again. We looked around for about a year or two for other businesses, real estate. And the only thing that I really knew about other than garbage trucks was marketing and selling liquor and food. So, all the stars were aligned. We caught a little bit of lightning in the bottle over there, but through hard work and dedication, we were able to bring Ball and Chain to life, which was our first of several nightlife, hospitality, food and beverage outlets with several more planned for the next 18 months. So I know that was quite a long-winded answer, but that's the best I could do.
No, that's good. So, do you think that the fact that you're from Miami has anything to do with the success of your businesses? Because I feel like there are entrepreneurs who maybe leave their home base and try to do the same thing or embark on some kind of journey, and either feel like they might not be as successful as if they return to their home base where they might have a bigger support system.
Well, I think that that is a great question and fair question. I do think that the skills and being an entrepreneur in business, you can apply anywhere, no matter where you are. That being said, at least for me, I had a very strong network, a network of friends and people that I grew up with down here, and people that, you know, even when I was in DJing and marketing and promoting my own parties and events, way before I would ever fathom owning our own establishments, you know, you're always networking, so to speak. And I remember, you know, someone once telling me when I was in college that I should be collecting business cards everywhere I went, because in essence, yes, it's not just a collection of how many people you can meet and stuff like that, but, you know, you meet people if you're able to create worthwhile, meaningful relationships that are not necessarily based on what you can give to me and what I can give to you. I always recommend people surround themselves with people that are interesting to them. Even if it's, you know, let's say you're interested in airplanes and your work has nothing to do with airplanes, go hang and meet someone that does that and learn about it. You know, whatever it is. So I think that, yes, I'd be foolish to say that returning to my roots hasn't assisted, but I do believe that we could duplicate what we've done in other cities and in other venues based on our expertise.
So, initially, when you went into this, what do you think was the biggest unexpected hurdle that you faced?
There were a lot of them, because especially in the food and beverage and entertainment world, you know, you can do a pro forma that's going to tell you what you expect to do. And of course you should, I recommend everyone do pro formas when they're studying any business or considering, you know, entering any venture. But there's really no way to know in a case like this, because Ball and Chain was really the first new place in a very long time in Cayocho in Little Havana that was trying to embrace the locals very much, but also attract a new demographic to the neighborhood that hadn't been frequenting the streets in years. And I brought over some friends of mine in the industry who own some very famous nightclubs and bars, you know, across the world. They all told me they thought I was crazy. At that time, everything was still kind of hot and happening on Miami Beach. And we started to notice a shift a little bit. Not that Miami Beach is not phenomenal, because it certainly is. But now, at least in South Florida, where every neighborhood now has cool cocktail bars, cool and hip restaurants. So we feel that we were one of the first to come to Little Havana. So that was a huge hurdle. Were we going to be able to get people there? Another thing was, we knew we wanted to invest in live music. We have over 100 hours a week of live music and DJs with no cover ever. And it is very expensive to do. But we felt that the live music model with people paying cover doesn't work in Miami, doesn't work in South Florida. Many places have tried, many have failed. It doesn't mean that no one can do it, but we've seen a lot of failures. And I think at the end of the day, people love live music, but they just want to come and feel it. They don't want to be taxed at the door. They don't want to have the hassles. So I think another one of our biggest hurdles or challenges going in was going to be to invest in live music day and night, knowing that at least immediately we were going to be taking a hit on the chin, because there was no way to subsidize it. Most places subsidize it through cover charge. And it's important to note that the original Ball and Chain never charged a cover. And so that was very important to us when bringing it back to life. We wanted to stay authentic, affordable, and accessible, the 3 A's. And basically reimagine Ball and Chain as if it had never closed in 1957. It opened in 1935. It had never closed in 57. What would it look like and be like today?
So have you proven yourself correct that having that vision ends up working?
Ball and Chain has been more than a dream come true. If you would have told me 5 years ago that on Friday and Saturday nights we would have a line of 100 and 200 people waiting outside to get in, I would have said, no way. And more than anything, what's really unique about Ball and Chain is that the Little Havana neighborhood gets about 3 million, a little more, 3 million tourists a year. It is very, very popular tourist destination. So We open every day at 11 a.m. From 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., 90% of our guests are tourists. But from 6 p.m. to close, 95% of our guests are locals. So we really capture two different audiences. And it goes back to, the reason I mention that is it's super important to know who your guests are and know your customers in any business. So, we cater to the tourists during the day, and at night we're a local spot.
So this might be a silly question, but do you guys have like a VIP area for celebrities, or is everybody just kind of sharing?
Ball and chain is the opposite of that. There are no velvet ropes. Everyone gets in as long as you're of legal age at night. Anyone during the day can come in, but after 9 o'clock, any guests that are under 21 are asked by security to leave. And obviously we ID everyone at the door, and we're very strict about that. There's no velvet rope. It's no, you look pretty, you're not, you're too many no, it's none of that. And that's what makes it so special. You have like 80-year-old abuelos and abuelas. They're dancing and feeling the music the same as you might have a 30-year-old crowd. And it's just everyone coming together to really feel the music. And I tell people all the time, one of the most interesting things is we are more Cuban and Latin today than we were 5 years ago. Because anytime we tried, or we thought, maybe it'd be nice to give people something else once in a while, whatever. The people, they're coming to the middle of Cayocho in the heart of Little Havana, across from the world famous Maximo Dominguez Domino Park. They want to know where they're at. They want this authentic piece of history. And so we give them what they want. I myself am not Cuban. Of course, my brother is my business partner, not Cuban. Our best friend, my best friend since I've been 10 years old, is Bill Fuller, is Cuban American, as grew up in a Cuban family, as Cuban as it gets. And, we've done a really great job, and thankfully we've been received by the locals. I think they started to see that we were trying to do something special for the neighborhood.
Yeah, I do follow you all on Instagram, and you can definitely feel that energy. And if I feel excited from an Instagram page, I wish I lived there so that I could be there. Because you're right. You've done a really great job of making it authentic. I do feel like people go there because they love the music and the environment and the dancing. They're not there to be pretentious or show off their latest purchase.
Correct. And it's interesting because a couple of things is that one of the things I'm very proud of is that, when you go out these days, whether you're at a concert, a nightclub, a bar, you can look around at any given time, and I swear to you, at least half the bar is on their phone, Instagramming, live feed, this and that. Don't get me wrong, at Ball and Chain, there is some of that. But I would say that 90% of the crowd is not on their phones. They're just smiling and living in the moment. And that's the feeling that I get when that's the cherry on top for me. When we sit there and we just see everyone from different age groups, demographics coming together and celebrating, it's just the best. And then the other thing to go what you said about Instagram, we got the best compliment the other day. Someone had an Instagram post, and of course I subscribe to anything that's hashtag Ball and Chain or Ball and Chain Miami. And someone made a post, and it was a simple post, like right when we opened and our Cuban trio was playing, and it said something along the lines of, when you go to a place and it's more than a place, it's a feeling, Ball and Chain. And it just, and that's what we set out to do, which is certainly no easy task. But again, for entrepreneurship purposes, I would take it back to any business where it's important to, identify who you are, who you want to be. And not to say that you can never change courses, but, stay true to your mission statement, your core competencies, and take the time necessary to get from where you start to where you are. I still think we've only scratched the surface of what Little Havana is going to become.